Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. So in this video I am going to give you my free hit side for game week 37. It's not just a draft, I have activated my free hit. I'm definitely going for it in this game week. So I'm going to go through all the players that I'm going to pick. One or two positions are still a little bit up for grabs. I'm going to wait for those press conferences, wait for that last minute team news before deciding. But I'm going to go through all the options who I have decided on, all that stuff. So enjoy this sort of video, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, let's have a look. So we have the game week fixtures up for 37 on screen at the moment. There's 5 teams doubling. If you've been studying this free hit as long and hard as I have, you would have memorised all these fixtures off the top of your head. So the teams obviously doubling we'll have a look at in a minute. I think it's important to put some context behind why I'm free hitting, what my strategy is, because I have activated the button. It's going to happen. I'm not going to do it in 38. I've been planning it for a while, so it's all in place. Having a look at my previous side, I won't make any excuses. It is a good opportunity to look at how well I did in 36. It was a fantastic week. Taking out Salah, bringing in Laporte, De Bruyne came in. Even Gordon was a makeshift for Ramsey coming out. It just all came into place. It's one of those weeks where it was just a dream. Probably the best FPL in 30 years of playing it that I have ever had. The best week I've ever had. Rank went up a ridiculous amount, 57,000, but that's given me a good overall rank now. It's better than what I set out to achieve at the start of the season, so got the free hit, so hopefully I'll get another green arrow. And it's all about where you finish at the end of the season, so I'm really pleased that I feel like I've been surrendering rank to other chips, and now I'm clawing it back, so it's really nice feeling to have, and I just feel like I'm riding the crest this way. But it's important I show you this, just because I want to show you why I'm being aggressive. I feel like I've made so much gains that I'm happy to kind of take a bit more risks now. It's almost a bonus that I've got this far with this game week. In terms of the fixtures and the way that the sort of players I have pan out in game week 37, I only have Gordon, Maddison, Dublin. Apart from that, I've got nothing else. And that was always the plan. It's not by accident or I find myself in a position where I'm just having a free hit to get those doubles. And it was always the plan to double. So it looks like a decent side in 38 because I've got those 3 Tottenham players and they're all playing against Norwich. I've got some good fixtures. I think Chelsea got Watford. So I'm pretty happy with the way the whole side's set out. But I can be aggressive with this free hit. And that's what I absolutely am intending to be. So I'm going to double game week players are definitely going to take a priority over those single game week players. Let's have a look at the teams that we're definitely going to have to prioritise and target. Villa, I think, have the pick of the fixtures. They're at home to Palace and Burnley. Good fixtures. Then it comes Everton. You could argue they got slightly better. They both play Palace, but I would say that Burnley at home is a better fixture than Everton at home. So I would prefer, I think, therefore, Villa's fixtures. But both teams with home fixtures, got to target those. Palace next, Villa and Everton, both away. Do like some of their players. You're looking at Zaha, and we'll go through them all in a minute. Leicester's fixtures, not too bad, especially that Watford away game you'd like to target. Chelsea away, perhaps not so much. And then finally, we got the Burnley, have a double as well. Tottenham away, Villa away. Bear in mind as well that Tottenham playing so well at home, so much to play for. And then Villa having pretty much put Burnley to the sword at their place. The return fixture doesn't look that favourable for Burnley. It's a green, but I don't think I would class it as a green. Those are the 5 teams that doubling, so that's going to make up the bulk of my side. Let's just have a look and see the single game week players that we can't ignore. Man City have it away at West Ham. Liverpool, good fixture away at Southampton. You don't mind targeting that. We know Tottenham have Burnley, as we just talked about. Arsenal away at Newcastle. I'm just going to completely ignore that. I don't think that's a very easy fixture at all. That'll be a tight game. I don't trust any Arsenal players in a free hit side. I'm going to completely dispel that, but I have put it down as a potential if you want to look at it. And Wolves again at home to Norwich looks like a good fixture. Wolves not particularly free-flowing, scoring many goals. Jimenez minutes is a little bit of concern. Not sure there's many players I'd like to target, but Norwich is a team, yes, I think we can get at. And Wolves potentially could do well in. We'll have a look potentially at could we squeeze some of their players in. But I think there's other single game week players after we look at the double good ones that would be much better than those Wolves asset. So again, to reiterate, I'm definitely going double game week players over singles. So first player on the sheet, absolutely. These are the players that I'm going to say are nailed in my side. I've got 7 that I absolutely want to play. I think this hasn't changed since the start of the week. At the start of the week, it was Pickford. He's got good fixtures. Expected goals conceded 1. It's slightly better at home over the last 5 games, but they've got clean sheets against Chelsea, Man United, Newcastle. I trust them at home, given their predicament a lot tighter. I think Pickford's the obvious choice. At the start of the week, I had Digne, I had Gueye, and I had Zaha as my next 3 players that I definitely wanted to focus on. That hasn't changed in terms of Digne and Zaha. Gueye's got a flag, and I've taken him out now. In instead comes Matty Cash. I'm happy to double up on that Villa defence with Digne and Cash. Palace at home, Burnley at home. I think there's at least 1 clean sheet in there. They do offer some attacking returns. Digne, I know a lot of frustration for a lot of people. 0.1, Cash slightly less. If they get attacking return, I think it's a bonus. It's for clean sheets that I'm keeping him in there. Zaha, the only thing I don't like about the Palace and Zaha is the fact that they're playing against teams that are doubling as well. So if Zaha scores, it kind of wrecks me clean sheets a little bit. But I'm hedging my bets a little bit. And I think if Palace do score, Zaha's inevitably going to be involved in it. And he's on penalties as well. So I think he's a good chance. He's actually in the last 5 games not great. I'd say 0.44. It's okay. But he's 2 goal involvements. And he's on pens. So I do like him. I think he's got to be in on a free hit. I really do. At the start of the week, I had Gordon, I had Richarlison, I had Watkins as nailed in my side. That has changed. I've now decided Gordon's going to come out, Watkins going to come out. In his place, I'm going to double up on Everton, Pickford and Mikalenko. Richarlison are going to be the 3 I'm going for. Danny Ings, we've got a flag on Watkins, so we're going to need to just keep an eye on that. Danny Ings playing up front through the middle. I just think he didn't look 100% impressive against Liverpool. Got in some good positions. He just felt a year ago playing at Southampton, he would have perhaps taken a couple of those chances. But get home to Palace, at home to Burnley, with Watkins a doubt, will he play both games? I think he's in. I think Gerrard will use these last few games to give him the game time. Does come off early, double game week. I think he's a good option and a good differential. I like him. In terms of the output and what we've got in terms of Mikalenko, obviously got that one amazing goal the other day at Leicester. Not expecting that. It would be a real recency bias and knee-jerk reaction just to bring him in for that reason. But I think 4.9, it's either a case of him or Coleman. I think I would just prefer Mikalenko at the moment. With Richarlison, definitely nailed up front. Penalties, 2 good fixtures, 3 goal involvements, decent XGI. He's in, absolutely without question. And Danny Ings, even though his expected goal involvement's gone down a little bit, it was much higher. That Liverpool game didn't do any favours. He has been getting in amongst the goal involvement. So, especially with Watkins out, he's going to be on pens if he's on the pitch. I think he's a really good option. So, my side then, so far, would shape up like this. Pickford and goal, doubling up with Everton and Villa. I'm happy to do that. Both home fixtures against sides that you wouldn't say are free scoring. Zaha in the middle and then Richarlison Ings up front. I'm happy. That's the staple side. So, there's obviously no cost yet, because I've got so many other players to fit in. But who else do I put into this side? Okay, let's have a look. Villa, I've already got 3. I could go Coutinho. I've got Buendia and Watkins, so I'd have to shuffle a couple of other assets around. I definitely would have had Coutinho in if he wasn't dropped for that game against Burnley. And Buendia did so well. He comes then back in for the Liverpool game, and now he's obviously signed the contract as well for Villa. Who gets the minutes? I'm just not sure whether both share minutes in those 2 games. Does Gerrard use these last few games as a bit of an experiment? He's signed Coutinho though. I don't think Coutinho's signed there just to sit and have minutes on the bench. So I'm in favour, I think, of erring on the side Coutinho. It's a risk for me, and I'm happy doubling up on that defence, and Ings as well. So those are potential assets. If Watkins gets the nod, if I get news on those press conferences that Gerrard says, yes, Watkins is fit, he's going to start, I think then I would have to favour him over Ings. But in the meantime, unless I get anything else, I think I'm going to be looking for excuses to have Ings in. I just love the fact that he's a differential. But those are 3 players potentially. Buendia the least of those. And in terms of defenders, I just think Cash and Digne are the obvious choices and absolutely nailed on. Next, we'll look at Palace and other options. You've got Anderson. Defensively, they've been really good, Palace. I think only Liverpool and City have got better defensive statistics since the start of the year. Anderson absolutely nailed. Mateta lost his place to Edouard recently, so he could be potentially an option. Elise, again, does he get the minutes? Does he play? And then Klein. I like the fact that Klein looks absolutely nailed on that side. He offers a little bit of potential. Cost-wise, he's really good. Fixtures don't look too bad either. I'm quite tempted to put Klein in at 4.3, I have to say. In terms of any other Everton assets that we're overlooking, obvious ones we've got Gray. If Calvert-Lewin starts to prove his fitness, could they go 2 up front? Does it then push Richarlison out wide? You think that would, if Calvert-Lewin's playing, he'll play through the middle. So potentially he could become an option then. If you don't like Mikalenko, you could go Coleman. You could go Gordon in the middle of the park. Do you know what? I'm happy with Mikalenko, Pickford and Richarlison at the moment. But those are other options you could consider. Don't think any of them are bad options either. Leicester, the problem they've got is obviously so much rotation in that Rodgers side. Away at Watford is a great result, is a great fixture. Away at Chelsea, not so. Vardy, 2 goals last game, scored. He's been playing a bit part in the previous games. Does he start? If Rodgers gives us information about that, yes, I think it'd be interesting. You definitely want him for that Watford game, and there's a lot of potential for him to do well. Good differential as well. On pens, as we know. But does he get both games? I just don't see him getting both games with Daka and Anacho around as well. I think he'll be sharing minutes. So I'm just not sure about Vardy. If I'm playing a double game week player, I want 2 games from him. As obviously you've got Barnes, you could play there as well. Harvey Barnes could come in. For me though, I think it's got to be Maddison. He's top scorer for Leicester. He just looks the part. I think he's had a rest a couple of games ago. Came back against Norwich, played really well. Brendan Rodgers said they're all fit. I think for me, Maddison's got to be the one out of those 3 players that comes in. So he gets more points for that midfield as well. Vardy playing can only help him in terms of getting assists too. Burnley assets. Away at Tottenham, away at Villa, given how they performed against Villa and just turned over so easy and how Tottenham are playing, you've got Weghorst and Cornet, but I'm just not interested in those Burnley assets. Neither of those interest me whatsoever. Weghorst was someone who really interested me a while ago. Had Cornet previously on a free hit, didn't really produce it for me. Those fixtures look really not very appealing. I'm just not interested. I think Weghorst plays both games, but I just don't trust Burnley to get anything out of those 2 matches. So, out of those players then, I think I would be interested in having Klein and Maddison. Don't mind. I think that Palace defence is pretty good. So I'm happy to go 4 across the back there. I've got Maddison in there as well. I'll just fill my bench with other single week players. We'll have a look and we'll have to readjust that in a minute when we look at the costs. But that's how the side picking up at the moment. Out of all the double game week players, I'm happy with those players there. It just leaves 2 more slots to fill. And it's going to have to be from single game week players because I don't think I want any other Palace asset. I don't want the Burnley players. And I don't trust any other Leicester players are going to play. I could go Vardy up front. I've got the money to do it. If you wanted to take a punt, you could go Barnes as well. Otherwise, I'm a little bit unsure. The other option could have been you could have put Schmeichel in goal and then pick another defender from maybe Everton. So you could have Coleman and Mikalenko. But I'm just not sure about Leicester. I prefer those Everton defence and that Leicester defence. I'm not sure I can trust it. So let's have a look at the single game week players then that would appeal to us. Southampton versus Liverpool. This is an interesting one. And this is where I'm coming quite aggressively, I think. The obvious choices are Arnold and Salah. Now, don't get me wrong. We know Southampton not been playing well. Turned over quite easily in the last few weeks. And I just want to go through their home fixtures. So bear with me a second. I'm very cautious about this because I am cutting through the ways that I am a Southampton fan. I just don't think Southampton are going to get rolled over at home to Liverpool. I'm not interested in terms of bias over the season. I've not put any Saints players in my side, hardly at all. So if anything, I'm sort of biased the other way. Their top home form against last year against top 4. Lost 3-2 at Man U, so they shed some goals there. 1-0 home to City, 1-1 against Chelsea, and they beat Liverpool 1-0. So overall, they conceded 1.25 goals conceded, 1 goal scored. So not scoring many, absolutely not. Last season, they only conceded 1.25. So they haven't been rolled over by anyone in particular. We all know about the 2-9-0 results the last couple of years. And we know more recently of the Chelsea result, which we'll look at as well. So there's absolutely every chance that they could be hit for a cricket score. I get that. And I think, in terms of the 9-0s, very extenuating circumstances. 2 players were sent off in the game against Man United. 1 very early on and the same in the Leicester game. So I don't think that's going to happen every week. In terms of this year, top home, they beat Arsenal 1-0, drew with Man City 1-0. They got battered by Chelsea 6-0. And we don't know what they're going against Liverpool. So in terms of that, 2.33 goals conceded, not scoring many goals at all. The only thing I'd say is I think they went toe-to-toe with Chelsea and they just got destroyed. They were very much defensive against Arsenal, Manchester City. They were very defensive and he went to Manchester City, got a 0-0. So I think when they decide to defend, they can defend. And I do expect them to do that against Liverpool. One interesting stat is that when they've played the top 8 this season, well, out of the top 9 sides, they've still got to play Liverpool. 8 of those games, they've scored 5, only conceded 11. Only one side in that top 9 has scored more than 1 goal at St Mary's this year, and that was Chelsea, and they obviously did it in spades, getting 6 goals. So I don't think they're an absolute rollover. It's Southampton's last game of the season, and I may be just guilty here of building a narrative around the fact that Southampton aren't going to get well. I don't want Salah to get a lot of goals because he's just highly owned, so I don't want him in my side. I could easily put him in the side. I just don't see them getting rolled over. That's not to say they won't, because we know how good Liverpool are. They could absolutely smash them. Southampton could capitulate again, and it could really wreck and ruin my free hit. But my opinion, I want to be aggressive and go for those double game week players. I'm not going to go for Salah. Not going to go for Trent either. I think this is a game which has got 1 or 2 goals in it. Liverpool obviously got a lot of games. They'll be maybe potentially going to 120 minutes in the FA Cup final. We'll have to see what happens in that. Does Salah even play? You've got other games coming up in Champions League finals. So I'm just not sure. I don't buy into this concept that Southampton will just get smashed. I don't think that's the case. Of course they could do. But this is my kind of stats I looked into it. And I'm worried that I'm kind of maybe am I being sort of statistically biased and just looking for these stats. But breaking it down, I just don't get the feeling Southampton are going to roll over. I think Liverpool will win. I think it'll be 1 or 2-0. And obviously even that could be enough for Salah to outscore a lot of players. I'm prepared to take the risk. Other teams that we would go for then, if I'm not attacking Liverpool assets, West Ham at home to Man City. We know how dangerous Man City have been. Cancelo, De Bruyne and Sterling would be the obvious choices. De Bruyne, do you dare go without him again? I think I would be. So I'm happy to go without De Bruyne again. I just don't think he can repeat that against West Ham. Cancelo, not sure about, but Sterling does really interest me, and we'll have a look at him in a minute as well. Other fixtures is Spurs versus Burnley. This one sticks out like a sore thumb as well. Obvious 2 assets. Only 2 I'd look at. Son, Kane. We know they've been absolutely on fire. You could go for either. I don't know which one I'm going to go for. Son, I've got both in my normal side, but I think when I've captained him a couple of weeks ago, it was just Son because he gets more points for that midfield, even though he's not on pen. And that was it, really. I just feel that they've got as equal chance of scoring as each other, and I might as well go for the player who gets more points for a goal. So I've just gone for Son on that basis. So if I start to tinker around with it, I've got so much money that it's absolutely fine. I can put Brownhill, Foden and Robertson on the bench. Gone for Robertson, because actually I think Trent, out of the 2, Robertson and Trent, don't mind either one. And I think Robertson's been rested, so I'd perhaps go for him just in case Trent does get the rest. But if I had Son and Sterling in my side of single week gameplay players, this is how it would shape up. Do quite like it. I do like the idea of Sterling. I don't know. I'd go instead of De Bruyne. De Bruyne makes absolute sense after what he's been through, but Sterling's had some really good results. He's gone under the radar a little bit because of De Bruyne's heroics the other night, but he's still been scoring goals. He's played the last 4. I think he's got 4 returns in them. Do like Sterling as a punt. Where at West Ham, I don't think it'll be easy, but I think they will turn them over. Alternatively, you just could go all in on Spurs, or you could go to De Bruyne. You've got plenty of money there still to do that. Other option is, just go for Spurs. Early kickoff. Spurs, Son and Kane, they will have to win. You think they'll be flying high after that recent result against Arsenal. So potentially just go for those for your 2 single game week players. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it's a bit of a marathon. Well done for getting through to the end. So I've taken my free hit really seriously, being quite aggressive with the double game week players. Let me know what you think. Are you free hitting this week? Who are you essentially going to bring in? Are you going to bring in the likes of Salah? Those single game week players are the ones that really interest me. Don't forget to tune in. We'll do a deadline stream on Sunday so we can go through the final places and how that looks. We'll talk about captaincy at the time as well. But in the meantime, guys, don't forget to click that like. It means the world to me if you subscribe. And in the meantime, take care. Speak to you soon.